Hey, 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 what's up? Hey. Okay, sorry about that. But today, on a serious note, I'm talking to you guys about Amazon versus Shopify for beginners. This is for complete beginners. If you haven't done it before, this video is going to help you because I've been doing both. Now, I'll tell you a bit about my perspective on it in the video, but this video will definitely help you get the perspective out to what you think might be better. What you should start first. This video is definitely going to help you out in the long run. Yeah, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Trying to hit 2K subscribers. But in the meantime, hope you guys enjoy the video. I'll see you guys soon. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about Amazon versus Shopify. Now, I've tried both. Now, just before I get into this, just have to let you guys know about my perspective when talking about this. So if you guys didn't know, I actually run a course for on Amazon. Sorry, my screen keeps going blank. I might have to just keep it like this. It keeps going dark. So I sell a course that teaches how to sell on Amazon. Now, I'm not going to be biased on this just because I sell a course on it. Now, if you're Australian and you want to learn how to sell on Amazon, especially after watching this video, make sure to check out the link in the description below, because that's my own personal course. We've got about 130 students in there now. But that's all I'm going to be plugging in about my course. It's just to let you guys know that I've been selling on Amazon myself. I don't sell on there as much anymore because I focus on my students now. But I've been selling on there longer. I've been selling, let's just say about 2.5 years or a little bit longer. With Shopify, I've also been doing it for the last 6 months. So I would say I'm more knowledgeable on Amazon, but since doing both now, this is my perspective on for beginners for this. So let's get straight into it now. What's best for beginners in my opinion? Now again, just so you guys know, I've been doing Amazon more, so mine might differ to someone else's, my opinion, but this is my personal opinion from doing both. So if you're looking to get started on either one, I'm going to talk a bit about what are the good points in some, comparing the two, and talking a bit about that. So Amazon versus Shopify. Now, what's best for beginners? First thing you want to look at, obviously, is the starting budget. So what's the starting budget for both? So for Amazon FBA, I teach private labeling. So the starting budget for that's usually around $1,000 to $2,000. That's to get everything started, all your seller accounts, so all your seller account, getting your product branded, and getting things like barcodes and everything ready, and buying your stock. Because with Amazon FBA, you buy your stock first, you send it to Amazon FBA, to their warehouse, and then you start selling. They fulfill it. Amazon fulfills it for you. With Shopify, it's a starting budget. Basically, you're creating your own website, and the $100 to $500 is just for your Shopify subscription, any apps that you're using, and starting with your advertisement and everything. So it's about $100. That's the main difference when it comes to your starting budget for that. Oops, try not to zoom out. Oh my. It's very hard to control this when I don't have a proper mouse. There we go. Okay, so how easy is it to learn? Now, this is on a scale of 1 being very hard to learn, 10 being easy to learn. So, in my opinion, when it comes to Amazon, there's not too many variables to it. Apart from if you get stuck sometimes talking to suppliers in China, for the language barrier. It's pretty much it. The rest of it, you are going to hit, road bumps along the way. But in my opinion, Amazon is a little bit easier to learn. All right, so when it comes to Shopify as well, there is a little bit more to learn because you're also building your own website. You're building your own kind of platform. I feel like there's a little bit more to learn to it. A little bit different size, especially this is just in regards to if you're a beginner. So it's a little bit harder to learn, still pretty easy to learn. If you compare it to Amazon, it is a tiny bit harder to learn, so I rated that. Okay, so this is another big difference in it. How long to get started with sales? So when it comes to Amazon FBA, you're talking about getting your product ready, getting it branded, talking to suppliers, getting your units manufactured, and then getting it sent to Amazon where you can start making sales. So that usually takes, on the short side, maybe 2 to 3 weeks. If you're lucky, you can get it 2 weeks. But it's usually about 3 to 4 weeks until you're up and running on Amazon. With Shopify, you're basically setting up your store. You're, obviously this is after you've sourced your product. I'm not talking about sourcing your product. I'm talking about getting up and started. And with Amazon FBA, this is, it really depends on if you're finding a product. But this is, let's just say, if you have your product and you're ready to go. So yeah, everything getting started. Setting up your ads. all that good stuff. You can get it set up in the same day, but usually it's it's set up in the same day, but usually it's maybe like the second day. So that's the other big part. Now we're going to get straight into the pros and the cons of this, and then we'll go with my final verdict as well, because this is all to do with you being a beginner, and I think that's the most important thing when it's complete beginners looking. What is my best option? These are the pros and cons in my opinion from what I've experienced. So pros for Amazon are there's no external traffic required. You don't have to build your own website. You don't have to do external ads. You can do advertisement on the Amazon platform itself, and you can also use the organic traffic because Amazon's such a big company. They've got tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people going to their platform every single day. So you've got that organic traffic there. You don't need to create your own. Another one is, again, you don't need to create your own website. You don't have to create your own website where people come and check out, buy your product, check out the product, and then go to the checkout, buy your product. It basically works all on Amazon's platform, and they handle all the payments and everything. And then by the end of it, you just get paid. At the end of it, you don't have to do your own checkouts. You don't have to do what the payment method is. You don't have to set up your own payment method and set up that payment account. Basically, how it works with Amazon is you get paid, and then they transfer, what your profits are. They transfer it. Let's just say usually it's at the end of 2 weeks. Every fortnight they do it. They just transfer it straight to your bank account. So that you don't have to set up any payment there. There's no website needed or anything like that. You don't have to set up anything like that yourself. And then again, with Amazon FBA, you own the product. So when you manufacture it, you get your logo done, your own barcodes and everything for it. You've got your own brand. Usually, most of the time, if you're doing Amazon FBA, if you're doing private labeling, you've got your own brand. You own the product. So that's your own product line, and you're trying to grow it yourself. So that's the other pro to Amazon FBA. Pros for Shopify. You've got a smaller budget startup, which is always good for people wanting to get straight into it. You don't have to deal with suppliers unless you are dealing with them later on. Unless you're like a long-time customer with that supplier, then you will be dealing with, you're probably dealing with them more, trying to sort out better deals, trying to see if you can get quicker shipping times and things like that. But right at the start, you really don't have to deal with suppliers because you're going through AliExpress instead of normal Alibaba, which AliExpress is usually used for drop shipping. So if you guys didn't know, we're also talking about drop shipping with Shopify, where that means that a customer buys your product and you don't have to buy the product until you make an order. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. And then there's also a quicker starting time. So if you're sort of looking to get up and running, testing little bits and pieces here and there, you can get started with Shopify. But that can also work against you as well, because with Amazon, you know that there's more time involved. You know that there's more money. So a majority of the time, you might even be more serious about it. So that's something you have to take into consideration as well when it comes to looking at Shopify. You really have to be invested in Shopify as well, because when you're looking at Facebook ads and external traffic, you really have to look at the data, and that's the other thing as well. So cons to Amazon FBA: yes, there's a longer startup time. So 3 to 4 weeks. It's going to take longer to. You have to be a bit more patient, in my opinion, when it comes to Amazon FBA. Stock needs to be purchased beforehand. So let's just say you're looking to sell 300 a month. You need to buy those 300 units beforehand, whereas opposed to Shopify, let's just say you sell 300 units in a month. You're only buying the product as people are purchasing them. That's why it's drop shipping. They purchase from you, then you purchase from the supplier. It gets sent from the supplier straight to your customer, and then you keep the profit. So you need to purchase your stock beforehand. And then as well, one other thing that I've noticed over the years is that there's more seller restrictions when it comes to Amazon. So you can't sell in certain categories unless you get ungated for it. There's certain categories that are gated, like things like groceries and jewelry and even apparel like clothing. You need to get ungated for. You need to have the all okay from Amazon to sell in those categories. Otherwise, you can get your product taken down, or your account can get restricted. There are ways around it to make sure that what you're selling is okay, and they do have all that information on their witebsite. So you make sure you just got to check that out beforehand, because you are liable to check that out before you start selling something. When it comes to drop shipping, basically, you're still liable for that on your end, but it's okay to sell clothing majority of the time. You can just sell clothing, you can sell majority of beauty products, because basically coming, there's really no middleman. You're kind of the middleman where you're basically selling the product, and then you're just ordering the product for your customer, and the manufacturer sends it straight from them to your customer. You don't touch the product either. So with both of these, you don't touch the product, which is a good thing. So the cons for so I have to keep moving my mouse around, otherwise the screen's going to go dark. I don't know why it does it sometimes. I have to figure that out. So the cons for dropshipping, on Shopify, external traffic is required. So you're going to have to learn Facebook ads. You might have to learn Google AdWords. You're going to have to learn how Facebook ads work. You're going to have to look at the data. You're going to have to narrow it down. This is why it's not as user-friendly, especially if you're a complete beginner to all of this and you have no idea what's going on. You've never had an online business before. You're going to have to spend a lot more time learning Shopify, learning Facebook ads, learning how to get external traffic. Because if you just launch a website on Shopify, there's no traffic. Like, Shopify isn't its own platform. You're basically creating your own website and getting people to that website. Unlike Amazon, where Amazon's its own sort of online store, and people view the products on their store, you have your own store, so you are reliable for getting traffic to that store. Another thing is you need to spend more money on ads. Majority of the time, you will have to spend more money on Facebook ads, because what you're trying to do is get your traffic, get all that traffic to you. So you're doing the same thing on Amazon, essentially. You're trying to get traffic to your product, but you find yourself spending more money on Facebook ads, on Google AdWords, even on Instagram influencer ads as well, because you're trying to get so many people to check out your product. Where on Amazon, you get your product to the point where it's at the top of a page, then you will have more organic traffic. You're just basically riding the wave of traffic that's coming through, to the Amazon website. Another thing is you don't own the product, so you're basically selling a white label product. But on Amazon, you really do have to brand your product if you're doing FBA. Otherwise, someone can come in and sell the exact same product as you. Where with with Shopify, it's okay to sell an unbranded product, and then later on down the track, you can talk with your suppliers, you can brand it, you can really make a strong brand out of it. But with FBA, you pretty much have to brand it from the get-go. Another thing as well is there's no platform leverage, which we're talking about with with your own website. There's no platform leverage, and there's more sort of testing. Test to see whether the product's good. So that could be a good and a bad thing. You can test products, but that means you'll have to spend money on advertisement, and you might not get return on it. So with Amazon, there's not as much testing. You basically you're going by what's good. You're trying to change it up, and then you ship all your units to Amazon, and you basically just start selling. You have to grow that one product. With Shopify, you're basically testing a product, and you can test it for, say, a few days to a week. If it's not working, change your product up, do a different one. So that's good and bad on both ends. And then as well, so that's basically my pros and cons and what's the difference between it. So my verdict on what should you start. This is my verdict all up, and it might be a bit generic, but this is really the truth of the matter. Is this is really what you should do, in my opinion. So do what best suits you and your goals, as well as your budget. If you've got a higher budget and you know that you don't want to build your own website and do Facebook ads and things like that, do Amazon FBA. If you're okay with a higher budget, do Amazon FBA, because at the end of the day, both work.
Look, guys, once again, I don't mean to flex. End of that video cut out. So basically what I was saying is both Shopify and FBA, Amazon FBA work. They both work. You just need to find what's right for you, what suits your budget, and what your end goal is in terms of what you want to do. Do you want to create a business? Do you just want to have a little side hustle? Do you want to have a little side income? Or do you want to take over your whole full income? I would just try both, and I would just see what works for you. But you have to go all in on one at a time. I wouldn't try to disperse your attention to one or the other. I would let's just say if you want to try Amazon first, I would do Amazon first fully. Make sure to try it out. Make sure to test that product that you're trying to sell. And then I would just do Shopify. If you want to do Shopify on a smaller budget first, do one first, go all in on one, and then try the other, because there's no use in doing it, half-heartedly with this kind of stuff. So yeah, they both work, but you just need to find what works for you. Other than that, guys, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. See you guys in the next video.